no. I did talk to my angels. I called them my invisible friends. I still talk to them. And then he said, here's my autobiography. I want you to read it. I think you will enjoy it. Thank you. Wow. He knew I was an angel. He knew I talked to my angels. He knew about my daddy. Psychic spy. The story of an astounding man. Wow. He was right. The book was fascinating. It was all going beyond the physical. I mean, this man was a psychic spy for the British government during World War II. And after I finished reading the book, I saw in the back that his address was listed. He had a temple, and he was the chief rabbi. Of course, I had to go and tell him how good the book was. That's what angels do. When I got to his place, the building was nondescript. You wouldn't have even noticed it from the street. And there were candles around. And there were religious images on the walls that I wasn't familiar with. And there were people waiting to see him. Now, this brother was black. He seemed foreign, Spanish, maybe Cuban or something, I didn't know. But all the people waiting to see him were Mexican. It was Mexican women, their children, and me. Hola! He called a few of them in. I waited. They left. Adios! And then he called me in. Oh my goodness, Dr. Montgomery, I love your book. I mean, how you talked about having the antenna behind your ear and all the psychic signals you picked up and going undercover as a psychic spy and using astral travel and everything coming true. And he was happy I came to see him. But he wasn't surprised, though, because he was psychic. But I was surprised when he looked me in my eyes and he said, we were together in past lives. You and I are supposed to save the world. God sent you to me because I need your energy. I'm an old man. It won't take very long. I just need to enter you. And then he said, I want you to go, relax, have a cup of tea, and come back. Wow. Dr. Montgomery, thank you so much for telling me this. At this point in my life, God speaks directly to me too. So I'm going to go and I'm going to pray about this. And if God tells me that I'm supposed to come back and do that, I'll be back. Thank you. God didn't tell me I was supposed to come back. But don't sleep now, because I studied Dr. Montgomery. I did some research on him, and he was legit. And his book introduced me to astral travel. Do y'all know what that is? That's when, somebody knew, that's right, girl, yeah. That's when your body stays alive in one place, but your astral body or your soul or your spirit leaves it and goes someplace else. I tried it. So I did a meditation. And then I saw my soul leave my body through my crown. And it went up, 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 up into the air until I could look down and see me sitting there. And then I looked up and around. And then I started to visualize where I wanted to go. And I felt my soul go to North Carolina, to my mother. And I saw her, she was laying on the couch, and she looked like she didn't feel well, so I started sending her love and healing energy. And then all of a sudden she got up and she started to walk into the kitchen. I got so excited, my soul flew back to LA. I jumped back in my body. I came out of the meditation and I called my mother. I said, hey, mother, what you doing? And she said, well, I wasn't feeling too well, so I was laying on the couch. And then all of a sudden, I started feeling better, so I thought I'd go into the kitchen and fix myself something to eat. I said, Mother, that was me, that was me. My soul came to you, and I sent you love and healing energy, and that's why you feel better. My mother said, okay, Tangie. Everybody ain't gonna believe, but I call situations like the one with Dr. Montgomery, the psychic, the man in the church, even this situation with my mother, angel moments. Now, angel moment could be a glimpse into the future so that I'll be ready for it when it happens. Or it could be a challenge or a problem or an opportunity for me to apply what I've learned so that I can see that I've learned it or not. Usually I recognize an angel moment because I get chills. You know what chills are? Holy confirmation that I'm on track with what I'm thinking, feeling, or saying to someone. Now, sometimes the angels are just steering me back on track. My abortions were angel moments. Yeah, that's right. This angel had 3 abortions because I didn't learn. The first time, the second time, technically not the third time either. I mean, listen, I didn't want to have sex with none of them jokers. I didn't. And I said no each time, too. But they were nice guys. And they just kept begging and begging and begging and begging. Please, Tangie. Please, Tangie. Come on, baby. Just let me stick the tip in. Please. Oh, come on, Tangie. I promise I won't come. Please. It was easier for me to just do it and get it over with and then pray that I wasn't pregnant. I was. I never felt guilty about any of the abortions. I mean, I thought because none of those souls attached themselves to me, maybe they had some kind of karmic debt to clear and they just needed my body to pass through. What bothered me most was that I had put myself in a situation where I had to have one. Me, Tangie. I was a good girl. And I said no. But I should have said, no! But I was an angel. And my mother always taught me to treat people as you would like to be treated, regardless as to how they treat you. And in my angelic state, I heard, treat people better than you treat yourself. When I first moved to LA, I was wide-eyed. And when I would see the Jewish people walking down the street every Saturday, and the men would be wearing their traditional garb, and the women had their long dresses on, I thought, wow, they are so spiritual. And I kind of put them on a pedestal. Angel moment. So I'm riding down the road. I got the tops off the car. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing through my newly formed locks. I'm feeling good, I'm looking good, I'm smelling good. And this big black truck drives up beside me, and the man says something to me, but I couldn't hear him because my music was so loud. So when I got to the light, I turned my music down, and I looked over, and I saw him. He had the little hat on his head with the long curls and the long beard. And I said, excuse me? And he said, want to fuck? No, thank you. And I drove off fast. Now, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. I needed that angel moment so that I could be reminded that you can't judge a book by its cover. And no religious group is perfect. And all religious leaders are just people with gifts. We all are. We all have gifts. We all make mistakes. We're human. But I thought I was an angel, here to bless and heal the world. And you could come to me with any problem, and I could immediately find the good in it. Still can. That's one of my gifts. But because everything was going so well in my mind, I didn't realize that I wasn't being fully present in my life. A person could be doing something that irritated me. And because I immediately understood why they were doing it, I would just let it go. I mean, someone could be hitting me upside the head because they had a reflex problem. And instead of me moving my head out of the way, I would say, oh, she doesn't mean to do it. She just has a reflex problem. I should have moved my head. But I thought, if I move my head, she's going to know I'm moving my head because she's hitting me in the head, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. Plus, because my angels always took care of me, I thought that I could handle things that other people couldn't. So I just happily bounced about 10 feet off the ground, getting hit in the head. In my 20s, boing, boing, boing. Oh, you say that girl over there is homeless? Do you know her? Oh, tell her she can stay with me. In my 30s, boing, boing, boing. Oh, you can't pay your rent. Girl, you can have one of my residual checks. In my 40s, boing, boing, boing. You're a single mom and you don't have a car? I'm going to give you mine. I wanted to be like Oprah. You get a house, you get a house, you get a house. What? I thought I was an angel. And then I started noticing how many times I heard, Tangie, you need to calm down, baby. Calm down. Tangie, you've got to stay in your body. What you mean stay I'm in my body? Tangie, today we're going to work on your root chakra so that we can ground you. What are they talking about? Get grounded for what? I love me. I love my life. I don't understand what they're saying. I'm on the ground. Then I was introduced to the Hollywood sage. And she explained it to me in a way that I could understand, kind of. She said, Tangie, in many lifetimes, you took it all so seriously. Did a lot for others. Ooh, sacrificed yourself. It was bad. Devastation and sacrifice. Devastation and sacrifice. This lifetime, you are here to get an awareness that you don't have to sacrifice yourself. Some souls come back to feel pain, not yours. Yours has had more than enough pain. This time, your soul wants to spread light and laughter and joy. But it feels like it can't teach and spread joy unless it takes on everybody's pain while trying to spread the joy. Tangie, you want everybody to feel good, and your soul hid pain so well, you honestly think you can handle it. But you can't, Tangie. Your pool is pretty clean, so if there's a little bit of dirt in it, it's really going to show up. You're sensitive, and I mean that in a good way. You come in believing you can bear the burden. Bring it on. You take care of everybody except yourself, get sick, and then you die, only to reemerge in the non-physical saying, oh, I did it again. By not seeing the bad or feeling the pain, your soul thinks it's protecting you, Tangie, but it's not, because you're still sacrificing yourself. And even though you don't feel it, it's still registering in your subconscious. Tangie, you need to feel it so you won't do it. But I'm not sacrificing myself. I like helping people. It feels good. Tangie, there's nothing wrong with helping people, but you also help people when you help yourself. You need to feel. Allow yourself to feel. To feel. To feel. Something hit me because then I started thinking about how it all started. June. Whoa, it started live just like that too. June the 4th, 1967. That Sunday morning when I was born. Woo! Oh! Hallelujah! My grandmother was shouting in church. Her baby girl had just had a baby girl. Thank you, Jesus. My mother was in the hospital. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for answering my prayer. My Aunt Louise was in the hospital, too. Thank you, Jesus. Aunt Louise worked there. She was the first to hold me. She looked at me like I was a precious gift. My aunts, my uncles, my cousin, my daddy, everybody was happy that I was here. And I was a new person, but I was an old soul. And I looked out at those smiling faces that were looking at me, and I decided right then and there in that little baby body that I wasn't going to deal with all that mess they had going on. I was going to make everybody happy. So early on, I made eye contact. I smiled. Baby talk, y'all love that. And when I got a little bigger and could stand, they'd say, "Look sexy, Tangie." And I put my hands on my hips and blink my eyelashes. And they would laugh and give me $1. That was my first acting job. I did it, y'all. I did it. I made them happy. They would clap their hands and say, "Oh, that Tangie is something else. I love me some Tangie. Ain't she the sweetest thing? Oh, that Tangie." But don't you see, I was new here, and I had already forgotten that in this lifetime, it's not my job to make everybody happy. In this lifetime, I am Tangie Ambrose, and I am spreading love and light. I am here to learn. I'm here to love. I'm here to feel good and bad. I'm here to create. I'm here to remember. I believe we chart our lives. I believe we choose our families, our friends, our problems, our health, our bodies, our gifts, our spirituality, everything. We are here for our soul's growth. And if we listen to that still small voice inside and do what it says, we pass and move on to the next lesson. But if we don't listen, we keep repeating that class over and over again until we get it right. Now, I know what y'all think. Chart my life? Tangie don't know what she's talking about. What in the world she mean by chart my life? And why would I even chart this? Let me tell you why. Because we are spiritual beings in these physical bodies. But before we are born, and even when we die, there's no body. It's just energy. Beautiful, pure energy, completely merged with all love, all knowledge, all power. Can you imagine how amazing that feels? We feel invincible. Yes, I can do it. Bring it on. Okay, so this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to do that 3 times. Ooh. Okay. And then if I do this or this, it's still going to take me there. Okay. Oh, and they're going to be back. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, if I need y'all going to be there the whole time, right? If I need you, all I got to do is call on you, just ask. Okay, good, but I probably won't need y'all anyway because, I got this thing. The way I feel now, you can add more. Yeah. All right, well, let's do it. Bring it on. Okay, y'all. So I haven't been born yet. My life is charted. What happens now? You wait. Wait until your spirit God tells you that you can go. But you know what happens while you're waiting? You forget what you charted. You forgot. You forget that you charted it. I forgot. And then my spirit God shows me, my mother, I love her. She's beautiful. Look at her, that pretty brown skin. She got that teeny tiny little waist. Ooh, and she got her bracelets on. Look at her hands. Oh, and her lipstick that shaped all hearts, and her eyelashes, little afro, checkerboard style. Ooh, sassy, struts. Walks like she owns the world, never meets a stranger, just sassy. Oh, wait a minute, and what year is this one? 1962, that makes her a teenager? She talking to this guy from school. They flirting. Oh, my Uncle Caesar. He runs home and tells my grandmother, Evelina's talking to this white boy. But he wasn't white, though. He was Puerto Rican. Oh, but when my mother got home, My grandmother beat her good. Evelina, don't you be talking to no white boys, baby. That could get you killed. But mama, he wasn't white. Don't you backtalk me, girl. Now, because my mother got a beating, you might not recognize it, but that was an angel moment sent to keep her on her path. Because sure enough, a couple of weeks later, my grandmother let my mother volunteer at the USO. Hi, welcome to the USO. Hi, welcome to the USO. Hi, Two fine guys came in. One tall, dark, and handsome, and one tall, light, and handsome. My mother quickly leaned to her girlfriend and said, I'll take the dark one. And she did, too. Because 10 days after graduating from E.E. Smith Senior High School, my mother married the dark one, my daddy Ambrose. I charted him. But they loved each other, too. But mainly, my mother wanted to be free. My mother's family was sweet, 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 sweet. I mean, they give you the shoes off their feet. There was a lot of love in this family I charted. A lot of love for the Lord, a lot of love for the fellow man, a lot of love for each other, a lot of ministers, a lot of church, and being Pentecostal, there were a lot of rules too. Baby, I need your loving. No singing, no dancing, no listening to secular music. Secular music was music that's not religious. No alcohol, no cards, no dominoes, no board games. That includes Monopoly and Sorry. And no makeup. And back then, they used to light a match and blow it out and draw their eyebrows on with it. My mother wasn't allowed to do that. Girls couldn't wear pants. Couldn't wear the color red. No shirts with sleeves shorter than this. No bragging about yourself. No feeling too good about yourself. No looking at yourself in the mirror too long. No doing anything to bring too much attention to yourself. So yeah, 10 days after graduating, my mother was out. My mother was a dreamer. She would go to church and she'd stand in the back and look at the congregation. And she noticed that most of them were overweight, or plump, as my grandmother used to call, with no makeup on. My mother didn't want to be like that. She wanted to be fit and poised with makeup and pretty clothes. And when she married Daddy Ambrose, she was able to live her dream. Daddy Ambrose was a commissioned officer. So they used to have dinner parties. Hey! Oh, come on in, girl. Ooh, you looking good. I love what you got on. Turn around, let me see. Yeah, I love that. You want a drink? Oh, no, they back there, Ambrose and the other way. Oh, you like, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Y'all, this was my mother's dance, too. On a slow song and on a fast song. Daddy Ambrose used to put on his dress blues, and my mother would take out one of her McCall sewing patterns and make herself something fly to wear. I remember one time she took this orange fabric, and instead of making her a pantsuit, like the pattern suggested, my mother made hot pants. Had them pretty legs out. My mother was living, and I'm on the other side watching her live her dream. And the more excited she got, the more excited I got. And the more I started to attach myself to her. And she must have felt me too, because all of a sudden she was really ready for me to come. And she and Daddy Ambrose were trying real hard to make me come too. They were trying so hard, sometimes I had to tell my spirit, God, don't show me no more. But it didn't matter how hard they tried, because my spirit guide kept telling me, not yet. My mother would be crying. My soul went to her to try to make her feel better. I would rub up against her. I would whisper in her ear, I'm coming, Mother. I would blow on her. But she was so busy worrying, she couldn't feel me. So I would run past really fast. And she would think she had seen something, but doubt herself. I was trying to make her feel better, but I only made her want me more. This famous pastor used to come on TV. His name was Oral Roberts. And he'd tell people to pray with him. And my mother would lay her hands on the TV. She'd say, please, God, please give me a baby. Please. I want a baby. Please, God. And I would be on the other side screaming, I'm coming, Mother, I'm coming. They just won't let me come yet. But she was so busy worrying, she couldn't hear me. So she and Daddy Ambrose started looking into adopting. Meanwhile, my mother started college. Now, she ain't want to go to college. She only went because in order to get married, they had to promise my mother's mother that she would finish her schooling. She went, slept through it, quit. But because she promised, she had to go somewhere. Cosmetology school. Angel moment. Hair, makeup, and pretty clothes. It paid off too. Because my mother would go every day sharp. She'd have her heels on, her little jumpsuit, her jewelry, her makeup, false eyelashes, lipstick, different wig each day. And she'd be in there working on those wigs. And this particular day, this handsome stranger came in with his friend. He spotted my mother. He walked towards her. He got down on one knee, took a Cracker Jack ring out of his pocket, and he said, will you marry me? She couldn't marry him. She was already married. But she sure liked him. I charted him too. It was the 60s. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Ah. My mother started sneaking and seeing this man. Ooh. Mm-hmm. And my daddy Ambrose was sneaking and seeing all these women. Mm-hmm. And together, they were both still trying to adopt. And I'm wanting to come too, but my spirit God is still saying, no, not yet. Now, during this time in North Carolina, they started shipping soldiers off to Vietnam. They didn't send the handsome stranger with the Cracker Jack ring. His name was Nicky. But they sent my daddy Ambrose. After he was gone a couple of months, my mother said to herself, I better go get me some birth control so I won't get pregnant while Ambrose is gone. I was like, she's going to get birth control. Can I go now? And my spirit God said, yes. And I ran and I jumped into my mother's crown and I settled myself down deep, 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 deep in her womb. Just in time to hear the nurse say, sure, Mrs. Ambrose, you can get birth control just as soon as you have this baby. My mother was pregnant. She didn't know what to do. She called her sister, my Aunt Louise. Louise, I got something to tell you. I did something bad. I'm pregnant. What you mean you pregnant? It's not Ambrose, baby. Well, have you told Ambrose? No. Well, that's one thing you got to do. You got to tell Ambrose. And if he don't want you and that baby, I'll take care of you. And if he don't want his insurance to pay for it, I'll pay for it. Now, you tell Ambrose the truth, but you keep your baby. I could love an adopted child, surely I can love yours. He told her to stay in the house, have the baby. He said he would help her take care of it. And together they made a pact, promising to never, ever, ever tell anyone that he wasn't my father by birth. Now they did this to protect him, his ego, but also to protect her reputation. Meanwhile, Nicky, the handsome stranger with the Cracker Jack ring, he had served his time in the military, and he was going home to New Orleans. He wanted my mother to go with him. She wanted to go too. But I can't. I already committed 2 sins that I was able to get away with. If I leave Ambrose, Mama's sure to find out. It would be adultery, an illegitimate child, and divorce. What will Mama say? It was a heavy time. I mean, yes, she finally had the baby that she had been praying for. She was working really hard to convince everybody that I was Daddy Ambrose's baby. She named after Ambrose, too. Here, baby. She really wanted to be with Nicky. Yes, Daddy Ambrose loved me, and he always treated me really special. But in the back of his mind, he knew I wasn't really his child by birth. And yes, the rest of the family, they oohed and awed all over me. Coochie, 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 coo. Nobody ever said anything, but they could count. Daddy Ambrose was gone 2 months before my mother got pregnant. And even though they didn't say anything, I felt it all. So, early on, eye contact.
Go, 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 go,
Look sexy, Tangie. And as I got older, my entertaining evolved. I can bark like a dog. Woo, woo, woo. A big dog. Look, I can stand on my head. But it didn't matter what I was doing. When Daddy Ambrose came home, I would stop and I would run to hug him. Oh, Daddy's home. Oh, Daddy. And when he wasn't home, I did a lot of fun things with my mother. My favorite was when we would take out our tea sets and we would have tea parties. Mother, this smells good. May I have some more honey, please? And sometimes Daddy Ambrose would send me and my mother to New Orleans to visit her friend Valerie. Auntie Valerie's family was fun. When they see me, they'd say, "Hey, baby, come here and give me a hug." Oh, you and your mom worldly women, baby. And they sent me all kind of beautiful things. Handmade dashikis, handmade suits, little black patent leather boots. And they had big pictures of me and my mother on the walls. And they loved them some Tangie. And I loved them too. And they sang, and they danced, and they listened to all kind of music, and they drank, and the women wore pants, and they wore red, and they could make shit baby sound cute. They say, "Shit baby, shit baby." And they ain't have no problem looking in the mirror and saying, "I'm looking good, something, yeah." But you know what the most amazing thing was? My Auntie Valerie's family loved the Lord as much as my mother's family did. I ain't never seen nothing like it. And then when I was 6, my mother and my daddy Ambrose got divorced. My mother called out to California, where he moved back home to go, to see if he'd gotten the divorce papers. This lady answered the phone. Hello? Hello? May I please speak to Ambrose? He's not here right now. This is his wife. His wife? You his wife too? That's why I was calling to see if he'd gotten the divorce papers. We're already married. And Ambrose said, you're no good. He said you cheated on him when he was in Vietnam and Tangie's not his child. He told you what? Ambrose said, you're no good. He said you cheated on him when he was in Vietnam and Tangie's not his child. He told you what? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Don't be sorry. Because I tell you one thing. This is one time Ambrose is telling the truth. Tangie is not his child. So now that my daddy Ambrose was telling people, my mother had to tell me. She couldn't have me hear it in the street. So when I came home from school that day, she said, Tangie, come here, baby. Come here, sugar pie. I need to talk to you, baby. And I need you to hear me. Hear me good. Now, this is going to be our little secret, okay? You can't tell nobody, okay? Tangie, baby, your daddy is not your daddy. She said we cried. But I was probably crying because she was crying. Because I was an angel. So instead of thinking, my daddy's not my daddy, I thought, I got 2 daddies. I was special. And my mother didn't know it. But I went to school the next day and I told everybody, Kevin, my daddy not my daddy, but I'm not supposed to tell nobody. My daddy not my daddy, but I'm not supposed to tell nobody. But now that I knew that my daddy Nicky was my real daddy, I also found out that my Auntie Valerie was my real auntie. She was my daddy Nicky's sister, and her family that I loved so much was my family. But they lived in New Orleans, and my mother and I lived in North Carolina. And Daddy Ambrose was gone. And I didn't ever remember meeting Daddy Nicky. I didn't remember meeting him for the first time till I was 15. Daddy Nicky came to visit me and my mother. He walked in. I look like him. I walk like him. I'm built like him. Girl version. Daddy! Oh, Daddy. Oh, baby. I love you so much, baby. Oh. My daddy loves me. He came to visit. I wanted to tell everybody. I wanted to tell my classmates, my aunts, my cousins, everybody, my friends. My daddy loves me, and he came to visit. But my mother said, no, Tangie, why do you have to tell everybody? I'll take care of you, baby. My mother and my daddy, Nicky, they charted an interesting journey for themselves. First, she was married, and he was single. And then she got divorced, only to find out that he was married. And his new wife didn't take too kindly to me and my mother. So even though I met him when I was 15, we only talked on the phone after that. I didn't remember seeing him again until I graduated from college. My daddy, Nicky, came to visit. By that time, he was divorced, and my mother had gotten married again. They always loved each other. They just couldn't seem to get it on the right track. After I graduated, I moved to LA. And I was going to visit a friend of mine. And to get through the gate, I had to go through security. So I'm in my car and get my driver's license. I hand it to the security guard, and I'm sitting there. He comes back, he gives me my card. I said, "You are so handsome. You look just like my daddy. You're my daddy." And I jumped out the car, and I ran, and I looked at my daddy. It was my daddy, Ambrose. And I hadn't seen him in like 10 years. And he just looked at me and he said, "What happened to your hair?" And I said, "You should watch who you have sex with." Okay, y'all listen. Now I know that don't make no sense. Because that man didn't have anything to do with the texture of my hair. But you remember the Hollywood sage said I was sensitive? Well, I am, and that hurt my feelings, and I never have been good at quick responses. So then I got back in the car, and I drove to my friend's house, and I sat on the bottom of the steps, and I just cried and cried and cried. And then my first commercial came out. And my friend came to me, he said, "Tangie, your daddy told me to give you this." It was his card. He hadn't asked for my number before. I wasn't going to call him now. You want to talk to me now because I got a commercial? But the love that I received early on from my daddy Ambrose and the freedom that I saw in my daddy Nicky's family prepared me for years later when I started praying and asking God to please bring me my king. I wasn't thrown off when he showed up. I was at a fight party. And he came walking in, overalls on, no shirt, hairy, sexy, long locks, those 70s sideburns, deep set eyes. I asked the other girls, I said, "Is he yours? Is he yours?" Nobody claimed him. I said, "That's my baby daddy." So then I went to the bathroom, fixed my lipstick, fluffed up my locks, tucked in my shirt so he could see how cute my waist was. He was sitting on the ground, and I went to walk by him, and he said, "Tangie, how does this king know my name?" Oh. He brought a whole new energy to my world. I mean, don't get me wrong, I worked as an actor before I met him, but when I wasn't working, I was praying, I was meditating, hiking, having paint parties, visualizing, going to see my emotional release therapist, that sort of thing. But my baby daddy, he brought music.
I want y'all to make some noise. Get it up.
Come on in, we having a party. Don't be shy. I think I know you. Oh, you just in time. Y'all. Now, you know, the way I grew up, I was a cheerleader, but not really a dancer because we ain't do a lot of dancing in our house, but I did my best. Oh, hey. Oh, you ain't even closed the door. What? Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Hey, you want something to drink? Anything? I get you some. You want some hot wings? Oh, you vegan now, right? I got something back in the back. And you gluten-free? Y'all on these new diets. What? Woo, we party. My baby daddy and I, we danced to music. We rode our bikes to music. We worked out to music. He cussed, it sounded like music. He thought I was sexy. He made me feel sexy. We were having a ball. And my babies must have been flitting around listening too, because all of a sudden, I was really ready for them to come. And we didn't want to get married either, because we said we were keeping it sexy. So the only problem was my baby daddy didn't want babies. That's right. Because I knew in my spirit that my baby daddy was my baby's daddy. But I needed him to go along with it. So what this angel do? I started walking through the house talking to my unborn children. I would say, go to your father. Let him know it's going to be okay. I can tell he's just afraid. Show him how wonderful it is to have babies. Y'all, you got to try it. This angel stuff works. Because he was asleep and he woke up. I just saw our daughter. She was looking at me with your eyes and she was saying, you will not deny me. I'm going to name her Pebbles. I said, baby, you can't name the child Pebbles. What's she going to be, a stripper? He said, I'm naming her Pebbles. Now, secretly, I said, go, girl. Yeah, secretly. I mean, I couldn't let the man know I was walking through the house talking to our unborn children. He'd have thought I was crazy. And then about a week later, I had a dream. And in my dream, I was stealing this baby boy from the hospital. And he was just crawling all over me. And I knew he was mine, even though I hadn't paid for him yet, because he still had the price tags on his toes. And we were walking out because I was taking him with me. And there were people that were guarding the babies. And they saw us, but because we looked like we belonged together, they didn't stop us. So I walked my son outside, and it was a bright and sunny day, and I couldn't find the car. So I turned back around to bring my son back in, and this little boy standing at the door said, yo, man, what you doing back? And my son said, she'll be back to get me later. She couldn't find the car. And I woke up and I said, God, I thank you. I'm going to have a baby boy. So when I got pregnant, even though I carried the baby low and everybody said it was going to be a boy, I knew it was going to be a girl. She didn't come to me, but she came to him, and his dream came before mine. So I knew she was going to come first. Ooh. But he still didn't want no babies. He used to say, Tangie, we good looking, we young, we can travel. You sure you want to do this? I said, I'm keeping my baby. This body was made to have babies, but I had a fibroid the size of a 13-week pregnancy. And each trimester, as my stomach got bigger and bigger and bigger, that fibroid got bigger and bigger and bigger too. And on a scale from 1 to 10, that pain was like a 77. And I'd never had a baby before. I thought this was normal. Plus, you know I wasn't going to be one of them pregnant women that was walking around complaining all the time. You know I had a high tolerance for pain. Plus, it didn't hurt all the time. I mean, I loved being pregnant. Oh. When the pain got real bad, we called the midwife. And she introduced me to the best high-risk doctor ever, Dr. Wali Dewani. He said, Tangie, you want to have this baby in the birthing center, right? Yes. I want you to too, Tangie. So you call me if you have any problem. Don't wait and say it was the weekend or a holiday or I didn't want to bother you. You call me right then, okay? Okay. But the only thing was, after I saw Dr. Dewani, I didn't have any more pain. It was more like pressure. And on a scale from 1 to 10, that pressure was like an 8. And on January 4th, my girlfriend took me out to eat. Oh, my baby was so heavy. I said, oh, baby, Mommy loves you so much. But I sure will be glad when you get here, because you sure are hurting, Mommy. Baby girl must have been flitting around listening. Oh, because that next day, January 5th, I was sitting on the toilet, and water just started gushing out of me. I laid on the floor, and I held my legs up in the air with my vagina as tight as I could, trying to hold the water in. I screamed and screamed and screamed, and my baby daddy came running in just in time to see the water turn to blood. He called me, my water broke! My water broke! I don't know what to do! I don't want to lose my baby! Please don't let me lose my baby! And she said, Tangie, I need you to calm down. Listen to me, Tangie. If you go into the hospital like this, they will take the baby. At 20 weeks, the baby's lungs aren't fully developed. I need you to be strong so they will try to save the baby. It was a long ride to Dr. Dewani's office. It felt like me and my baby daddy were the only two people alive on the planet. It was just us. Him driving and me bleeding all over his front seat. When we got to Dr. Dewani's office, the receptionist said, "Hi, may I help you?" I just showed her the towel. They rushed us into a room. Dr. Dewani turned on the monitor real quick and then turned it off. My baby daddy said, "Wait a minute, I didn't get a chance to see that." Dr. Dewani said, "I didn't want her to see it." The nurse that was assisting Dr. Dewani was about 6 months pregnant. Her belly was right there beside my face. I prayed. I said, "God, please bless her baby." All the while asking, "Is my baby going to be okay?" Nobody would answer. They walked out the room, and I felt something inside me. And I asked my baby daddy, "Look and see, did they put anything in me?" He said, "No." Then they rushed us across the street to the hospital. 3 hours later, Pebbles Uriel Edwards was born. She was breech. That's what I felt. Her little foot. Baby girl had been stepping out. She was with me for 5 months and 1 day. They didn't give me a birth certificate. Only a death certificate. My baby daddy always said babies were ugly, but he said she was beautiful. Should I look? He was right. She was beautiful. She had 2 eyes and her little nose and her mouth, all her fingers and toes. Thank you, God, for this moment. Thank you for letting me get pregnant. Thank you for my beautiful baby girl. When the lady from the bereavement team came in to cheer me up, her face was so sad. I had to cheer her up. Listen, no, really, it's fine. It's fine. These things happen. No, we'll be okay. Thank you so much. We'll be okay. Thank you. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had some cows, E-I-E-I-O. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. The midwife brought me back. Tangie? Tangie, do you see the wall? Yes, I see the wall. What color is the wall? It's green. Tangie? Tangie, do you see the trash can? Yes, I see the trash can. What color is the trash can? It's beige. Tangie? Tangie, do you see your husband's hair? I told you we're not married. And I was back. And there was my man holding a statue of a man, a woman, a son, and a daughter with a card that said, "We will have a family." He passed out pink cigars. I wanted my baby. I was like, God, this is Tangie. That's not how we roll. We're a team. I do good things when nobody's looking. Why did you take my baby? My breasts were engorged. I'm getting calls for pregnant roles. I still felt pregnant, but I wasn't. I could bend over. Oh, God, I can bend over. And I don't have my baby. I wanted my baby. I wanted to run. I wanted to leave LA, but go where? Where can I go? I screamed it out to the world. I'm having a baby. I loved being pregnant. I always had my stomach out. And here I was with no baby. I couldn't even go to my angels. How are you today? I wanted to scream, I'm horrible! I just lost my baby and I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But instead I said, I'm fine. The Tangie they knew never walked into the room. I couldn't entertain. I couldn't take care of them. I needed all of my strength just to take care of me. I was hurt. I was angry. Why did you take my baby? Was it because we weren't married? Was it because I'd had abortions? Why did you take my baby? People would say, Tangie, was probably something wrong with the baby. But no, I saw her. She was perfect. They would say, don't question Tangie. You don't understand God's ways. But I did question, why did you take my baby? I did question. And I kept asking and asking and asking, believing that God was going to answer me. And it took 5 months. And God did. I was standing in my green room, and the voice said, she did what you asked her to do. She just didn't do it the way you thought she would. She made her father want babies. And when I heard this, I saw the darkness. And it started at my feet, and it came up my calves, up my thighs, up my body, out my head until I could breathe again. And I didn't even know I had stopped. And then I heard she was a highly elevated soul. And she had been here many times before. And she always chose really tough lives so she didn't have to come back. But she chose to come back this time so that she could bless her family and so that she could experience love in the womb. And for that, she chose me. Y'all, my baby girl had the best life ever. She started out in that place of all love, all knowledge, all power. And then she stepped into my womb where she felt nothing but love. And then she took her little foot and stepped out and went on back home, all before the trauma of childbirth. And when I got that, I was clear again. And then I remembered the dream of my son. I'm going to have a baby boy. So now I'm going to help God because, you know, we tight again. So then I go to the doctor to see why it happened, but they didn't know. I tried to tell them it was spiritual, but they didn't believe me. So finally, I found this fibroid specialist, and he said, well, you have a fibroid. And if you get it removed, then there will probably be scar tissue and you won't be able to get pregnant again. But if you leave it in, the same thing will probably happen. But if you believe God is with you and Dr. Dewani is fine with it, I say go for it. I was like, oh, God is with me. Hey! 10 months later, my son Rock was born in an all-natural women's center. Fibroid the size of a 13-week pregnancy, still there. A couple of years go by, I'm pregnant again. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got my baby. I got my man. I got my body back. I ain't want to be pregnant. Well, baby girl must have been flitting around listening because at 14 weeks, I'm sitting on this same toilet and out she comes. Now, I was hurt because by then, her soul had attached itself to me and I really wanted it to come. But I wasn't devastated because she had told me. I had been hearing that she was a girl child and she was a happy spirit, but she wasn't supposed to be there right then, but she would be back. So I got up and I picked up a pen and I reached in the toilet and picked up her little home and I said, okay, so you weren't pleased with your accommodations, huh? I said, well, if you're a jokester, you'll come back in June. And my baby girl, Stone Love, was born at home in June. And she is a jokester. Angel moment. Fibroid's still there. My baby daddy and I. Wow, we had some angel moments while we were together. We had some angel moments when we broke up, too. But I finally got my no. Bye, baby daddy. My mother, that Pat, it was always so important to her. Even during the years when I didn't hear from Daddy Ambrose and Daddy Nicky had formed a permanent fixture in my life, she still wanted me to keep that secret so no one would get hurt. And because I wasn't fully grounded in my body, I didn't even realize it was hurting me. So I did, out of respect. Until May 2015. My mother had been living with me and the kids, and my daddy Nicky came to visit. It was the first time in all our lives when we were together and no one was married. And we were in a city where nobody knew our story. We went to the Colfax World Fair. The kids had run off, and it was just me, my mother, and my daddy walking. Me, my mother, and my daddy. I ran up to everybody I knew. TQ, that's my mother and my daddy. Ty, that's my mother and my daddy. Deborah, that's my mother and my daddy. 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 My mother said, Tangie, what is wrong with you running around here like a fool? I said, Mother, don't you see? This is the first time in all my life I have ever been able to say, that's my mother and my daddy out loud. Oh, I was so happy. And who knew that that was an angel moment? Because 9 months later, my dear mother took her last breath. She went home. She was finally free to express her full divine self. And she went in peace too, y'all, because she went knowing that my daddy Nicky and I were firmly rooted to each other and that the kids and I wouldn't be alone. And we wouldn't. Because Daddy Ambrose was around too. I finally took out that card and I called him. I was glad I did. We spoke once or twice a year over the years. And I had broached the subject many times of him not being my father by birth. But he wasn't having it. He wouldn't even talk about it. He didn't break that pact with me. But me wanting to talk about it didn't take away from my love for him. Nothing could. I just wanted to celebrate my love and my relationship with my daddy Nicky. And I finally built up the courage to do it. My show. And then you know what happened? 1 month before my debut, my daddy Ambrose died. Now, I had been worried about his human self hearing my show, but I wasn't worried about his soul because he was once again merged with all love and all knowledge and all power. He knows how I feel. Love you, Daddy. Y'all, I got 2 daddies. I got Daddy Ambrose and I got Daddy Nicky. But this is my mother and my daddy. Now I understand why my children had to be named Pebbles, Rock, and Stone. They were spiritual names, meaning grounded. I mean, because just like in the story of David and Goliath, that little pebble broke through all that fear. Oh, not that side. and not just their daddies. Broke through my fear too, because now I'm making mistakes. I'm getting things right. I'm falling on my face. I'm getting up. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling, y'all. And I ain't sacrificing myself no more. No more. Now, I'm solid. Solid as a, that's right. Rock, my son. On this rock, I build my church. Stone Love, my daughter. All God's promises are written in stone. Remember when I was in middle school, I said this girl read my palm and she said, you're going to have 3 abortions, a miscarriage, a stillbirth, and 2 babies. I thought that girl was crazy. I didn't even have sex yet. But she was right. And it was just what I needed because can you see me, mother? Because I'm out here. I'm out here claiming my blessings, y'all. I'm living the human experience that I fully charted for myself. And now that my soul is firmly rooted in my body, now I can reach for the stars. Heaven high. Hey, mother. Mwah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hi. I didn't know. Troy, could you turn that down a little bit? Okay, so I just want to thank all of you for coming because everything that I'm saying in here is legit, is real. And when I say I'm living my dreams and I'm making mistakes and I'm falling down and getting up and all of that, for real. So right now, I'm in the middle of a dream. Can somebody turn the air on a little bit? People fan. They hot. I'm living my dream and y'all are in the middle of my dream. And I appreciate that. I wish we could touch and agree on something for everybody right now while we got all this power. Because you know all my angels in here too. So did y'all have any questions? They ain't got no questions. So
how does it feel to put your story out here and to continue to how does it feel? How do you feel?
The scariest time telling my story was when I went home to North Carolina to my Pentecostal family. That was really, really, really scary. But it helped me a lot because I found out everybody got a story. And after the show, they were all coming up to me telling me their stories. And so it really feels good. I was really worried when I started talking in the beginning about the abortions. I thought everybody was going to walk out the door. But you could hear them, too. They were like, Tangie. No, not Tangie. And they go, whoo, you know. But you know, I believe that God is everywhere. I believe in God, for real, for real. And I believe that God is everywhere, evenly present. And so all these different aspects of me, God is right there. So it's scary, because today I couldn't remember any of my lines. But it's wonderful, because I really want to share, and it's a lifelong dream. And I think that I never felt worthy enough to do it. You know, like, why should anybody listen to me, and why do they care about my story, and blah, 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 blah. So it feels good. Yeah, yes, sir.
Tangie, congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you, Gita.
And your quick change was great too. That was really quick.
My quick change, thank you, yeah. That was right.
But
Thank you.
honestly, I'm really inspired by watching that because I mean I laughed and I cried and I just felt you sharing this vulnerability, and I just say congratulations. This is such a beautiful journey that you're on.
Is anybody videotaping this? Thank you,
You know I mean
Kevin.
that though, from my heart.
I believe, thank you. Yeah, because I know you wouldn't say it if you didn't. You'd just be sitting there like this. So, thank you, Kevin.
Congratulations. I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you. And thank you for laughing out loud. Oh, I love that.
Tangie,
Yes.
I want to say congratulations. I am so angry that I didn't get here in time. I haven't gotten used to LA traffic yet.
We are too.
But y'all, wait a second. He's from my hometown. And let me tell y'all about this brother. This brother, okay, he don't want me to tell y'all. I'll tell y'all later. Y'all inbox me later and I'll tell you his story. Because he's got a powerful story, a real powerful story. But he's from Fayetteville, so North Carolina. Okay, well, kind of. Okay, but what were you going to say, Mike? Go ahead.
I just appreciate you for, the longevity that you brought into the industry with a genuineness and a naturalness that gives you the opportunity to inspire people. Like you said, you went home and the people came up to you and started telling you their stories. That's for a reason, because sometimes you are somebody else's Bible. I understand Pentecostal and all this, we know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are somebody else's Bible, and continue to be that, man, because by the end of the day, that might have been 20 or 50 people that didn't tell their story to anybody. And they
Right.
believed themselves to you that night for a reason. So, of course, as always, you look stunning, darling.
He does.
Go on. Go on. No, thank you.
But I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Like,
Mike.
darling.
Thank you. I love you too. I heard a girl's voice. Yes, ma'am. Hi. Hey.
I am truly inspired to be here today. Just have one question. What inspired you to do it by yourself?
Oh, girl, can I tell you what? When I was at Spelman, I did this show, Late Bus to Mecca, with Pearl Clegg, and it was 2 people in the piece, and I was the only one talking. And it was my first time. And, with her, and we did it for National Black Arts Festival, all this thing. It was power, fire. That's what we live for. You're an entertainer, being on stage, and all these people, and they looking at me. That was my dream after that. Dwayne used to always say, why do you want to do your woman? I don't understand. But it's like, well, you saw my story. I've been standing on my head and barking for a long time. And so even though I'm grounded now, I still like to make people feel good. Now I think, though, and I'm like, okay, Tangie, is this hurting you? Is this higher than a 5? If this is, then you might need to rethink this. What do you want? But I can be on stage and I can hopefully elicit smiles and
Joy and tears and emotions and make people forget whatever it was that they were thinking about when they came in for an hour, hour and a half. It was my dream. And I hope that I would be able to heal people. And it's a lot of stuff happening here, so it's kind of hard to find somebody that's in alignment with all of this. Because if somebody was on stage with me, it would have to be their ministry too. Right. Otherwise, it would just be just a person up here, and I'd be like, you didn't know. So that's why. It was my dream. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to tell you that I've always been in love with you. But this, I am just madly in love with you.
Really?
My daughter and Rock are the same age.
Yes.
So it was the first day of kindergarten, and my husband and I drive up to the school to go back, and here go Tangie in the little pants. So there go Courtney. Zoned in. And I was like, who's that? He was like, oh, I think I know her. I was like, oh, okay.
Courtney's her husband.
My husband died. He said, we went to college together. That's Tangie. I was like, oh, wow. I said, do I got a problem with that lady? So he was like, no. I was like, okay. I said, because I know she'll type. She'll get the things out of my waist. He said, Tanya, she's an awesome person.
Aww.
He remembered head to high.
That's amazing.
That's on your little
Yes.
Yeah, so I fell in love with you then. And
Aww. And I fell in love with you. I was like, who is this little dark chocolate beautiful sister? Just she talking about me, boom boom. Boom boom boom. You see when she gets up. Oh, hi, Danny.
So, I wanted to thank you for telling us the story of Puppet. Because I always wondered if you were going to have another child along the way. You were going to have one, you've had two. I was wondering if there would be a third one, and what that would have been that child's name. You know, I just came to find out you already had it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really special. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Danny. Oh, and thank y'all for coming. I know it was hard to get out here at 7 o'clock.
How long did it take you to write this?
25 years. And that's the truth too, y'all, because I have all of these scripts at home. I haven't thrown any of them away. I would write, and then I would work with Dwayne, and I'd say, he'd work with me for a couple of weeks, and then I'd say, no, it's not it. He said, I ain't gonna work with you no more. Just don't even come back to me with this thing. And then I'd write another script and find somebody else, and then I'd fade away because I said it's not ready. But what it was is I was working with powerful people, but because I wasn't clear, they were trying to help me make my vision clear. But because it was my vision, they couldn't help me make it clear because I had to be clear. And so then I would put that script down. I kept picking and picking and picking. But honestly, I have to give my angels the last credit because after my mother died, my birthday was coming up. And she died in February. I turned 50 in June the 4th. And on my 50th birthday, I wanted something fabulous for my mother. I wanted her to be proud of me. And I had nothing. I felt like it didn't matter all the work that I've done. It didn't mean nothing. And so I started trying to write her life story. Wouldn't work. I was writing everything, just so I could get on stage and do something. And I have a friend that's an angel communicator. It's in the program, and he called me up because he had a question. And I listened to my spirit, and I gave him the answer. And after we finished, he said, Tangie, I know you didn't call me about this, but there's a spirit here that wants to communicate with you. And he said, he told me what they were doing, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, and you know that your mother talks to you every day. And I said, yes. And he said, your mother is telling me to tell you that she's proud of you for what you've done, but she's even more proud of you for what you're about to do. And then I started thinking, I'm not going to tell anybody about this conversation because what in the world am I about to do? I don't know if she's right or he telling the truth or what. It was going to be a secret. And then he said, your mother just picked up a script and she dusted it off. He said, now this could either be a show you're getting ready to book, or it could be a script that you've written and then you put down, you're going to pick back up again. Do you know what this is? And I said, yes. It's that dag-nabbit one-woman show. Could you please ask her what I'm supposed to write about? And he said, your mother said, write the story that shares the most of you. So that ruled out her life story. So then I told him about a vision. I'm going to tell y'all about the vision real quick. I haven't told any the audiences about the vision. In this vision, and this was what I was telling Savon. In this vision, I was sitting at the table, and I was playing cards with my daddy Nikki's family. And the doorbell rang, the phone rang, and there was a knock at the door. And I went to answer the phone, and this door opened, and all of these flowers started coming in. Roses, daisies, lilies, daffodils, birds of paradise, all kind of flowers. And instead of me just accepting them, I didn't just accept them. I said, what is going on? Why is all this stuff coming from me? It's not my birthday. First wrong mistake, right? It's not my birthday. So then I went to this door, and it opened, and there was this beautiful platter made out of this material that I had never seen before, but it was just amazing. And on the platter, there was a tree limb, and it had no leaves. It was like a branch. And I was like, what is this? And I had just started dating my baby daddy, and my aunt always used to say, don't take no wooden nickels because you can't spend them. And I was thinking, that's what she's trying to tell me. She's an angel. She just could have put some wooden nickels down there. But it was a tree limb. So then I turned to this door, and there was my Aunt Dear and my Uncle Sonny that I talked about in the show. Now, my Aunt Dear was a minister. In real life, I love you, dear. She was probably about this big, good cuddly. But in my vision, she was like a size 10. And she had a curl in real life, but here, she had her hair all, how they used to wear it back in the day, coiled up, and she had on this beautiful long white dress, and it had the most beautiful embroidery on it I had ever seen in my life. And my Uncle Sonny, her husband, in real life was an alcoholic, and he was real skinny, but here, he was thick, and he had that handsome square jawline, and he had on a white suit, and it had that white embroidery that was real beautiful. And both of them were brown, and they were like shining, and I could see right through them. And that's when I learned that pain and pleasure were both paralyzing. Because the feeling that I felt from them, that's where I got that invincible from, because that feeling felt so good that I was just laid on the ground, just balled up. I couldn't move. But I wanted to get up and call my Aunt Louise or my mother so that they could feel what I was feeling. But my Aunt Dear, she didn't open her mouth, but I heard her say, if you move, I'll have to go. And then my Aunt Dear kicked up her leg. And when she kicked up her leg, I saw that she didn't have on a dress. My Aunt Dear had on pants. My Aunt Dear, who the least I had ever seen wear was like pantyhose, pantyhose, a girdle, a slip, a bra. I mean, she had on a lot. And she had on pants, and what I heard her say, she didn't open her mouth, but I heard her say, God ain't tripping. So I got about 5 scripts named God Ain't Tripping. But after I hung, that's the story I was telling Savon. He said, Tangie, that's it, that's the story. So I hung up the phone with him, and I wrote that story out, and then all the rest of it came, and then that got cut out, and then my daddy Ambrose died. And so then I had to add the end part. So it took a while. It took 25 years, because I wanted to be honest. But I was glad that I kept all those old scripts. Did y'all turn on the air? The air worked real good in here. Just slide it, make sure it's on, slide a little thing. But, so that's why it took so long. I don't know if y'all had any more questions. I won't. Yes, TQ.
I have, I was at your birthday.
You've seen the show 15 times.
I've seen all but 3.
Yes.
And it's been a pleasure taking this journey with you, because watching it evolve, watching the slight changes or the additions, it's just been amazing. But also, what I didn't tell you is that I'm not a very spiritual or religious person, myself, personally. But the story has been very powerful, and I recently had, I guess I'll call it my own angel moment. 2 weeks ago? About 2 weeks ago. And if not for you, I might not have recognized it. So, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Wow. Oh, that was beautiful. Everything everybody said was beautiful, but oh, wow. Thank you. I did have one man in the North Carolina. He came up to me. He thought I knew him. You know, he's Tangie, you remember my brother so-and-so? Oh, so-and-so. He used to work at the barbershop. Oh, at the barbershop. He died 25 years ago in June, and he said, I have been mad with God ever since then, and I didn't let that anger go until I saw you let go of your anger about your baby girl. And I was like, wow. Well, thank you, angels. So, thank you. Thank you all. So, oh, y'all are free to leave or to stay. Oh, we can come out and take pictures.
Girl, that was worth the hour drive.